modern conflict has shown that threat can emanate from any level and escalate quickly and rapidly, necessitating diligent preparation and capability to build up. Nuclear conflict lies at the extreme end of the threat spectrum. India has also said that it will not be deterred by nuclear blackmail. Operation Sindoor is the only example of a conflict between two nuclear weapon states. There have been hundreds of conflicts ever since nuclear weapons have been invented, but only one of the belligerents could have been a nuclear weapon state, the other was normally none. So in future, we'll have to be prepared for that old and new kind of warfare together. So we have this war, something which the Israelis fought the Iran in some manner for 12 days. It's a new kind of warfare, where the Russians and the Ukrainians are firing a mix of both. So we have to be prepared for both kinds of warfare. The second evolving challenge from the military perspective is to keep a high degree of operational preparedness 24/7, 365 days. Constant vigil, real-time intelligence and seamless coordination amongst different branches and agencies have become critical necessity. Again, I'll take you back to an earlier paradigm, say about 10-15 years back. There used to be a concept of warning time which was given to us. So against the northern adversary, there could be a warning time, say, of 6 months. Basically, we could figure out how the diplomatic or the political mood in that particular country is shaping up. Then, of course, they required time to mobilize. Tibet was very far away. And you had that the government will be able to give you, say, they had specified a particular time. And similarly, for a Western adversary, they may be engaged in Operation Azmaistakam towards the east. They would require to mobilize. So you would have some definite amount of time before a war could break out, and this current paradigms exactly are all gone. This is no longer true, because we were engaged in kinetic operations even before we mobilized, and we were still mobilizing. And by the time, in 4 days before we could mobilize, the operations were called off. And even could not called off in the sense because we are still at a pause. So that's how we are. The third evolving challenge in the military domain is to prepare for the entire spectrum of conflict, ranging from sub-conventional, conventional to nuclear. And this is for across the entire domain, entire front and all domains. And the modern conflict has shown that threat can emanate from any level and escalate quickly and rapidly, necessitating diligent preparation and capability to build up. In the spectrum of conflict, nuclear conflict lies at the extreme end of the threat spectrum. My understanding is that nuclear weapons are tools of deterrence and not war fighting. Of late, India has also said that it will not be deterred by nuclear blackmail. So I thought that I'll clarify a bit on this and give you my take on this. I think Operation Sindoor is the only example of a conflict between two nuclear weapon states. There have been hundreds of conflicts ever since nuclear weapons have been invented, but only one of the belligerents could have been a nuclear weapon state, the other was normally none. So Operation Sindoor, in that manner, is slightly unique in itself, and it may hold lessons not only for the subcontinent but for the entire world. Having said this, I think that in this particular conflict, we thought that there was a lot of space for conventional operations. And this, I think, is due to three fundamental reasons. First is India's nuclear doctrine, that is no first use. I think that gives us strength, and that contributes to creating this particular space between us and Pakistan. Second is the way we responded, actually. When India went to respond, we destroyed terrorist camps in response to terror attacks as part of a prevention strategy. You may call it revenge, you may call it retribution, but that ought to prevent further attacks. Pakistan escalated this particular conflict into a fully conventional kind of a domain. The escalation to a conventional domain was in the hands of Pakistan. Thus, it reduces his option to raise the threshold of this nuclear conflict. So that's another thing, that he escalated, so he can't further escalate it to the nuclear domain. And thirdly, I think there is space because there was no capture of territory involved. You must have heard this old thing that they're likely to use these tactical nuclear weapons on their own territory, and those kind of scenarios there was out. So this has led to falsification of the old standing doctrine, actually, that nuclear weapons can deter kind of conventional conflicts. I think, having said that, I think that further expansion of space in conventional operations is possible. In each ladder of that escalation, by taking it to newer domains of warfare like cyber, electromagnetic spectrum, and cognitive. So we can still expand space for conventional operations. The fourth evolving military challenge is increasing vulnerabilities to long-range vectors and long-range precision strikes. There is currently no foolproof defense mechanism against ballistic missiles, hypersonics, cruise missiles, and large-scale attack by drones or loiter munitions, especially when they are all used in conjunction with one another. You saturate the defenses and there's no defense. The detection, tracking, and engagement paradigm for all these three are entirely different. Even Israel, which is a very small and a compact state, so which should be able to defend itself, the air defense would be very strong, found it very difficult to defend itself against Iranian missiles. So there's an important fallout of this particular impact. What I said was, firstly, that military infrastructure that we have built, since 47 or 65 or 75, it's unfortunately very close to the border, our airfields, military cantonments, and all this. So that they are now within range of long-range artillery, missiles, and rockets, and it's true for the other side also. We have created a lot of overground infrastructure, I think, which is susceptible to damage and destruction. That's a second important fallout. And this particular challenge also has implication for civil defense. So I'll leave it at that. These are some challenges for which presently no one has a very suitable answer, not only in India but globally. It'll take time before we are able to build credible defense against such kind of threats. Currently, the only answer lies in maximizing deterrence and incorporating these vectors as hypersonics and supersonic or subsonic cruise missiles and long-range loiter ammunition into your arsenal.